Hello y'all and welcome. I know it's been a while, but I have been busy work and study and stuff, so hopefully I will get more content up now. I have a tournament this weekend, for example, with 4 games, so that will be very cool. And yeah, so I have a special one. This one is special. I want your comments on this. This is my fault. My top 8 of the basic path from 9th age, which I found the best and the worst. You should of course know that depending on what kind of army you have, the synergy, for example, different spell could fill different role, of course, so this is kind of hard list to do. So it's more of a my favorite more than what lore is actually the best depending on your situation and playstyle. So my playstyle is I play when I cast magic I would like to get off a lot of good magic, so I want a lot of good spells that's easy to cast, and should have a good path attribute that I could use all the time. And I think another important thing is that it is a toolbox, so you can use it in different situations. So my favorite is actually not one of the basic 8 paths. It's actually Path of White that is my favorite, because I think even though some debuff with the counter cannot be stacked, it's still a good lore with a lot of option to it, so that's my favorite. But I have actually skipped all of those lore because they are very army restricted. So I will just go into the basic 8, which most of the army can actually use. So as I told you earlier, comment please, I want to hear what you think about it. So let's go. So my least favorite is actually Path of Nature, and basically it have some good spell. The Stone Skin, very nice. Dweller is one of the big good bomb spell, even though I don't like bomb spell, so that's maybe a reason for me not to like it. But the good spell, all of them, Stone Skin, Summer Grove, Dwellers, actually got a very high casting value to cast them. And let's face it, the signature is I don't get it. It's not a good spell. I don't think so, honestly. So yeah, and of course the attribute, it can heal a wound, so it cannot even raise model. It can heal a wound, and you cannot heal more than 1 wound per turn. So unfortunately, Path of Nature is my least favorite of the 8 paths. Number 7 is Path of Wilderness. I think this is a kind of controversial choice. I would argue that the signature spell, Beast Within, have a too high casting value, which is unfortunate and make this spell not so good in my point. I'm not a friend of Frenzy, so Inner Rage doesn't do it for me. And also Curse of the Wildwood, very good spell, but too high casting value. The attribute is, in my point, not too good. It could be, but not something that you could use all the time. It could be situational, very good, but otherwise maybe not. So that's why Path of Wilderness take the 7th place. So taking the 6th place is Path of Alchemy. And why I haven't placed this higher, I think this is a very cool lore. If your army lack the ability to take out high armor save from your opponent, this is a very good lore. But if you face off an army with not so much of that, this lore gets kind of unuseful. They have some good debuff spell, and Enchanted Blades is always very nice. But the attribute I think it's kind of okay, not something that you would bank on. One better arm save to maximum 3 up, yeah, it could be cool, but it could maybe fail as well. So that's why I didn't place Path of Alchemy higher, because I think it's a very situational lore. Next we got off to Path of Light, taking off the number 5 spot, and I really like this. Now there's more a, how did you say this, more a choice or preference than a actually clear guidelines I have to actually rank this spell. But it's a very nice spell. It got some good buffs like blinding speed, shield of protection, for example. A good missile as a signature, very cool. The attribute I think is very good, very long range to it as well, 48 inches, which make this a very useful. Net is also a very good spell, I think, of course. So that's why this path got the 5th place. Number 4, Path of Death. I think this is a very good lore. It got some really good spell. Curse of Mortality, very good spell, only a 6 to cast, very good spell. And the attribute, yeah, it's very cool. -1 leadership, especially if you can combine it with fear. This is a very good attribute, I think. So there's some very cool spell. I like the Abyss, for example, very cool. Of course, the sniper spell is always nice, to trying to basically kill your opponent's caster or whatever general. Always nice to plunk up a wound on something like that. So that's why Path of Death takes the number 4 slot. Well, then we got the top 3. So in the top 3 we got, first out is the Path of Fire. Why I like this is they got a very good, one of the best I would say, signature spell. It got an attribute that's very cool. So if you get off a spell, you can, even if it's unuseful, you can use the attribute to get rid of your opponent's shaft, and that's so nice. And then you should never forget that you got some really cool buff spell, like Flaming Sword is a very cool spell. I also like the Smoldering Ember spell, which is also a very cool spell. So that's why Fire takes the number 3 spot on this list. So taking the 2nd spot on this list is of course Path of Shadow. Why I like this lore very much is of course Shadow Miasma is, I would say, the 2nd best lore at signature spell there is. It's got a long range, reduce movement, weapon skill, ballisty skill or initiative. It's so nice to have that option to throw on your enemies. Also Turn to Smoke, Glimpse of the Ends, very good spells. Even though it take a little too much to cast, but this can really change the game if you get one of those in. And of course the attribute Shadow Step is so nice. So you can do a flying move 10. You may think that's not very special, but for my playstyle I like to play cheap character and cheap small units that I can just pop up in front of a unit to shaft them up. This is a very good option for me, as it fits my playstyle very well. So that's probably why I think Path of Shadow is the 2nd best lore, or 2nd best, my 2nd favorite lore. So for the only path I didn't have to think where to place it, I like this lore. The only downside is maybe too high of casting value and kind of limited range, but having maybe level 2 or level 1 just to get the double blizzard, that's so nice. I think the blizzard is probably the best signature spell in the whole game, and with the attribute reroll a die, that's very useful if you would have a very important role to make. So that's very nice. Also, of course, you cannot get away from the stars align or the curse is a very good spell as well. Of course, the comet is very cool to get down, even though it's not always very useful, but it's cool. So of course I place the Path of Heavens highest up as my absolute favorite lore in the whole game. So that's it, you all. This is how I would rank the 8 basic paths. I hope you will comment on this because I gladly have any discussion about any of my placement and usage of the paths, and how would you rank them and so on. Also feel free to like and start subscribing if you haven't already, if you want more of this. And that's it. Have a nice one.